Good evening, it's meteorologist Michael Fecka. Welcome back to the 9 p.m. all-weather, all-streaming show that we do here every night during the workdays and on weekends. We stream it out to all of our streaming platforms, including Facebook and YouTube. So if you're joining from either place, please feel free to leave us a question or a comment. Hopefully I'll be able to go through them all as I go through the forecast, but if not, I'll go through at the very end and see if I can answer anything individually for you. But let's get started here with a look at what we're tracking out over the next couple of days. Well, today was a nice break from all the rain we've had so far this week. Now, it is going to still be quiet through the rest of tonight, but the rain returns by the time we get into tomorrow, along with the chance for a couple of thunderstorms, and there may be a marginal risk for some severe or strong storms out there tomorrow. So we have gone ahead and added that alert, even though it's not a widespread chance of severe weather. We know we've got a lot of graduation ceremonies happening tomorrow, a lot of them also being outside, and we've also got a lot of Memorial Day weekend plans that start tomorrow as well. So we just want to make sure everyone's aware. It's definitely going to be a bit more of a yucky day, and there is that chance for some storms as well. And then we look to remain unsettled through the rest of the weekend and even into next week as temperatures gradually warm back up to around average or even slightly above. But here's a look at what we're tracking out over the next couple of days. High pressure over the Great Lakes region is what's kept us dry today. Now that stationary front that moved through yesterday that brought us those waves of rain is well off to our south, but that is going to continue to lift northward as a warm front headed into tomorrow, and that's what's going to bring us that chance for widespread rain and even a few thunderstorms. But let's talk a little bit about the last couple of days. As I mentioned, it's been a very wet start to the week. We've seen heavy showers and thunderstorms Monday, Tuesday, and on yesterday. So looking at our 72-hour rainfall totals, we've averaged around an inch to even closer to 4 inches in a few spots across the tri-state. So that has been a very beneficial rainfall. We've been super dry this entire spring so far, and especially for the month of May. Looking at our precipitation totals, we've got all the way up to around 3.23 inches, so around 3¼ inches of rain for the month. Most of that has fallen in the last 3 days, and that's caught us up in that deficit. We're still in a little bit of a deficit there, just shy of a ½ an inch of rain for this time of the month. And for the year, we are still lagging behind quite a bit. We're lagging behind by a little over 5½ inches. So any little bit of rainfall is helping put a dent in that deficit and should help clear us out of that drought over a longer period of time. So it's not going to eradicate it immediately. We need some more rainfall in here before we start to see some relief. But it's dry out there right now, and I'm sure many of us appreciated that break from all the rainfall. So we are looking at more rain beginning to move in overnight tonight, mainly into early tomorrow morning, but we do have a few spotty showers that are popping up closer down towards Bowling Green and to the south and east of there. So that will be working its way northward through tomorrow morning, and it's going to be a fairly rainy start to the day on Friday. And then as we get into the afternoon, this area of low pressure that we're tracking out, it's going to kind of slide in over top of the tri-state, and it's going to put portions of the tri-state in a little bit of a more favorable setup for at least an isolated strong to severe storm. Again, it's not going to be widespread, but there is that chance. And again, with all the outdoor plans, graduation ceremonies, we know we want to have people on guard for anything, so you want to keep a close eye on the sky. So we'll have widespread rain, a few thunderstorms. Again, there could be a potential for a strong to severe thunderstorm. Here's a look at that severe risk for tomorrow. And you'll notice it doesn't even include most of the tri-state. Most of us are outlooked in just general thunderstorms, but it's really for areas south and east of Evansville out towards Tell City, Owensboro, Hartford, and Madisonville. The low is going to be sliding right over top. So areas to the south and east of that low, you get put into a little bit more of a favorable environment for thunderstorms. So that's why the National Weather Service and the Storm Prediction Center has gone ahead and added that marginal risk. And we're on the northern fringes of this risk. You can see there are better chances farther to the south and east that extend all the way through central Kentucky down into Tennessee and even into portions of Mississippi, Georgia, Alabama. So it's not just us here in the tri-state, but let's track everything out here into tomorrow morning. So by around 7 o'clock, most of western Kentucky getting a good bit of rainfall out of this. This will fill in across the entire tri-state as we go through the mid to late morning hours. And you'll notice this little swirl in the wind barbs. That's going to be the actual surface low pressure that's going to be sliding through. And you'll notice most of the tri-state, especially north of the Ohio River, we have wind barbs coming up out of the north. So that's a little bit more of a stable air mass, whereas the wind barbs coming up from the south, that's going to be more indicative of an unstable air mass. So that's why the Storm Prediction Center has this portion of the tri-state outlook for that marginal risk of severe storms. But as you'll notice, once that widespread rain moves out of here, it does become fairly isolated. So again, it's not a widespread risk here. We'll have lingering showers overnight, even into Saturday morning, before we largely dry out headed into Saturday afternoon. But I still think we'll hold on to the chance for at least a few spotty showers through Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening. Unfortunately, it just doesn't look like it's going to be a dry, exciting Memorial Day weekend. But I know a lot of you guys are still going to go ahead with your plans anyway. But keep that in mind. It may be a cooler, wetter Memorial Day weekend. But here's a look at the rainfall amounts we're tracking out here through at least Saturday morning. Some folks could pick up anywhere between 1/4 of an inch up to 1.5 inches in some spots. It all depends on if you get a heavier downpour, especially embedded within that wider area of rainfall. And in terms of our severe weather risks, it is, again, fairly low. We're not even outlooked for any wind or hail, but we have that 2% tornado risk, which in my opinion, with that area of low pressure sitting right over top of us, it may provide just enough turning of the winds to maybe drop a very brief or weak tornado. So we're not looking at anything strong. We're also looking at the potential for some localized areas of flooding with all the rainfall headed our way. So here is the outlook for the rest of the weekend. Once we get past Friday, we'll hold on to the chance for some scattered showers and thunderstorms through the weekend and into the start of next week for Memorial Day. So here's kind of the timing for Saturday. We'll actually have the cold front of that low pressure system slide through early Saturday morning, and that'll bring in some more showers, even a few rumbles of thunder through the first part of the day on Saturday. But you'll notice we'll stay largely dry through Saturday afternoon, and then we may even break up some of the cloud cover. Could see a glimmer of sunshine later on in the afternoon and into the first part of the evening before it sets. And then it looks like we also stay dry headed into Sunday morning before a few more showers try to lift up from the south headed into Sunday afternoon. So again, it's not a complete washout of a weekend, but there is going to have to be some eye on the sky there as we are anticipating some of those showers. I know a lot of folks are going to be outside this weekend, whether you're going somewhere else, staying here in the tri-state, or just grilling in your backyard. It is going to be at least hold a chance for some showers. But here's a look at the rain and storm chances beyond the weekend. We hold on to showers and thunderstorms through the middle of next week at the very least. So this unsettled weather pattern hangs around here. Here we are at Sunday. That frontal boundary kind of still draped over the tri-state or just to the south. So that keeps the shower chances continuing into the start of the work week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, even into Thursday, we'll hold on to more rain chances. So I hope, a lot of folks aren't too excited about any sunshine anytime soon, because it doesn't really look like we've got a lot of it headed our way, but we do have a lot of rain, which at this point I think is pretty important. We are fairly dry out there, and the grounds have been so drought stricken. So all the rainfall we've gotten so far this week, beneficial, and the rainfall that we'll be getting over the next 5 days, also very beneficial. We'll be looking at anywhere between 1 inch to maybe even up to 2 inches through next week. So that is all good news. And because it's not falling all at once, it's not like we have a huge flooding risk either. Again, we may see some localized areas of flooding emerge in your typical flood-prone zones, your your poor drainage areas, low-lying areas under overpasses and things like that. But here's a look at the current drought monitor. This actually updated this morning, and unfortunately it doesn't take into account anything past Tuesday. So all the rain we got on Wednesday is not included in the drought monitor, and we haven't really seen much of a budge in any of these contours. Still looking at moderate to even extreme drought across portions of western Kentucky, with abnormally dry conditions across portions of southern Indiana and southern Illinois. But there's a look at your 7-day forecast. And I will take that full screen so you can get a better look at it. In the meantime, I'm going to check out some of the comments here. Ann says, good evening to you. Suzanne is watching from Morganfield. Thank you for joining us. Good evening to you, Jeanette and Cheyenne. William asking, how do you get into meteorology without a degree? Asking for a friend. Well, there are several ways. a lot of the times, if you want to be a working meteorologist, you will still need some sort of certification or degree. So that requires at least some bit of schooling. But, that doesn't stop anyone from kind of learning the ropes on their own and checking out some of the models. I know a lot of you guys do that. You go to websites and you check out the models for yourselves, and you take a crack at forecasting as an amateur forecaster. That's certainly no issue with that. So if you're trying to get into meteorology without schooling, that's one way you can do it. But if you do want to be a working meteorologist, you definitely need either a degree or some sort of certification. Maddie is asking, Maddie says, good evening and a beautiful night. Yes, outside of the cloud cover, it's going to be a pretty nice night tonight. It may be a bit chilly. Temperatures drop down into the upper 50s to around 60. Zach asking about the potential for tornadoes in Evansville tomorrow. It doesn't look like we have a great chance at that. Again, the severe weather risk is very, very low, and it mostly is for areas south and east of Evansville where that surface low is going to be passing by. And even then, those areas that are outlooked in that 2% tornado risk, it really just isn't a high likelihood because it's just going to be raining all morning long. We won't really have a lot of shear or instability. It's really just about the turning of the winds at just the right moment that may drop a very weak or brief tornado in those areas that were outlooked. Angie asking about Saturday. As of right now, it does not look like Saturday is going to be a complete washout. So we may have those rain showers through Saturday morning, but it does look like we remain largely dry through Saturday afternoon and even into the first half of Sunday as well. So there is another kind of break in the rain within there. And then Ann just asking, she's hoping I'm good. I hope I'm good too. I'm all swell over here in the weather office. But that is all the questions that I'm seeing. So I'm going to hop off the live stream and I'll send you guys over to 14 News at 10 for all the latest news and weather headlines. Until then, everybody, stay safe, have a great rest of your evening, and stay dry through the weekend.